Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another multi-dimensional Monday, and Cheryl as well. She,
Woohoo!
she's here with me today. Thank you for joining me, Cheryl.
Oh, my pleasure. These last few conversations that we've had have been so fun. I couldn't say no.
I'm glad because I think today's is going to be quite interesting and helpful for people. And I just want to thank everyone for subscribing and
Mhm.
listening to my YouTube station. Um, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate all your comments as well.
Yeah, great thing to start off with. So today's topic kind of stemmed and started from the last conversation that we had. So do you want to introduce it or do you want me to say how it all came about?
I'll go ahead and let you explain how this all evolved.
Okay, perfect. So you may, if you haven't listened to the last message in channeling, it was about putting all the stresses, all the thoughts, everything going on in your mind in a box and setting it outside the door so you can quiet the mind. So if you haven't watched that one, I'm going to recommend you go back and watch it and then watch this one. Not that we don't want you to watch this one, but it will make more sense if you do. There's a little bit of a series there. In that one, when the Esther group was speaking, they were talking about repetitive thoughts and things that come up and they repeat in our minds and over and over and over again. And I wanted to ask them the question then, but we ran out of time. And the question was, well, not even a question so much as a statement. And I want to delve into this a little bit. It's when we have a conversation that hasn't happened yet in our minds. So could be you came home, you had maybe someone in the parking lot cut you off or whatever. You come home and you're thinking, man, if I had that person to talk to again, I'd say this, and then it would go like this, and then I'd say that, and then it would go like this. And then 10 minutes later, you're reliving it again, and you have another conversation in your mind. And the conversation has never, ever actually happened, nor does it happen, but we have those kind of conversations in our head over and over again. So Esther and I started talking about this after the last channeled message. Now, go.
Well, what I mentioned to Cheryl was that I had listened to a meditation by the Stargate. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with them, those listening, but Prageet and Julianne, Prageet Harris, they have a company, the Stargate Experience, and they offer meditations. And I did one where they had all of the galactics and ascended masters basically around us, each individual person, and they walked in all of those projected thoughts that we had, those repetitive thoughts, every projection that we had. And
Mhm.
they spoke of it like when you're thinking about things like that or anything, you are projecting thoughts out almost like a movie projector. And I don't know, most of you have remember the movie projectors where you could see the beams of light flowing back and forth, there's just projecting out. And all of those streams of light are your thoughts and
Mhm.
your projections of what you think might happen or is going to happen or has happened. And you're reliving it, those repetitive thoughts and everything. It's just projecting out like these little beams, like a movie. And then that's how you're creating your reality, you see. So your thoughts, as you're projecting them out, are kind of projecting into your reality, almost like on a movie screen, and it's helping to create what you're experiencing. So, what they had us do was visualize them around us in a circle and then walk back all those projections and bring back all that energy back into our being to basically give us our power back. We spend a lot of energy projecting
Mhm.
what we think is going to happen or what someone said and reliving it or the person that cut you off. There's a lot of energy being expelled when you're triggered or perhaps
Absolutely.
plans and they didn't work out or you're planning something else.
Mhm.
They just have us walk all that beautiful energy back into our body and allow us to basically step into our power of being in the present. And what that does is it helps to slow everything down, and it helps you to be a little bit more deliberate on what you're creating. Your thoughts, everything's aligned, you see, and you're not projecting out things that haven't happened, and you're not using your energy to think about things maybe that may never happen, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And I know for myself, so if it's happened to me, I'm sure it's happened to other people, that you can have that conversation that never happens, never existed, going on in your head, and you can't even fall asleep because every scenario in the world is playing out. It's like once you get started projecting it, stopping it is the key. And you can't, to quiet your mind so that you can go into a mindful state, so that you can go into rest that your body needs.
Right.
So I find this very fascinating, this conversation and how it's come up. So
yes, and it happens to all of us. There's I don't think there's one human that has not had that happen, or isn't at this present moment having things like that happen, where we're triggered, or where perhaps we keep thinking of something in the past that happened and that we feel is unresolved, or we feel emotional about. And that quieting the mind is important. And I'm just going to stop right here and go into channel Cheryl, and then we'll just see what the Esther group has to say, and perhaps you could ask them some questions.
Sure.
About the channel as well, and we'll just give them a chance to give their perspective.
Perfect. I love it. I'm excited about doing this. So I can't wait to hear another being's, another energy's perspective on projection and how it is or isn't helping us.
This vessel steps aside and the Esther group steps forward. But we also bring another group with us that was actually participating in the meditation with this one Esther, and that is the Galactic Command. And so we are going to allow them to address this question about repetitive thought and about how to reel back in some of those projections in your life, and how to do that, why it makes sense to try it, because you really are the creators of your reality. And as you move forward into a higher frequency, your creating is going to happen faster. So we would just like you to be able to understand the dynamics of it, how it works, and perhaps give you some tips on how to navigate that. This is the Galactic Command. And we come forward and allow the Esther group to step back, to thank you for having us here, to thank you for listening to this transmission. This conversation is important to each and every one of you as creators of your reality. And in this way, we hope to magnify the importance of your role and how you navigate what you're experiencing here. When you project your thoughts and emotions and your feelings, and it's repetitive, it's emotionally charged, that is a powerful energy that you are putting forward. And indeed, you are beginning to create or manifest similar circumstances in your experience here. So be aware in this energy. It is so intense on your planet, more than it ever has been. Your experience will be elevated. It will be intensified. So as you move forward in your energy field, a very good way to reset yourself is to do what these two were talking about in the beginning. And that was to allow us to assist you to sort of bring back all of those projections in your field, a 360 view around yourself. You have projections you may have done subconsciously, you may not be totally aware of. So it's important to allow those to be walked back in to your body, that energy to be brought back in gently into your body, into your being, to refresh yourself, to give you back your energy from some of these projections and repetitive thoughts that perhaps you have had for many years even. They may have been an undercurrent that you may not have even been aware of. And it could have been affecting many things in your reality. And some of them perhaps not in a way that you would prefer. So, by allowing yourself to be reset at this point, in this higher frequency, you're going back to more of a 0 point, a neutral spot, if you will, to allow yourself to be in your true nature, which is the joy of being in this body. And allow yourself to have the higher self take over some of the projections that you're making, some of the steering of your consciousness and to the way that your experiences here should come to you. Does that make sense to you, Cheryl?
It does. And I love the mention and the fact that you brought up that as the energy is speeding up, we're manifesting faster, which means if we're projecting something negative, it's going to appear faster.
Yes. And it may not be in the exact same way that you experienced it, but something similar will arise. And it will keep coming back to you until you figure out what it is that you are to learn from that experience. It may be that you have an experience with someone that you thought it was going to be great and it did not work out. Well, perhaps there's a reason for that. It may not be a negative one for you. It may be that this isn't the right person for you to be having this experience with. And perhaps there is someone that your higher self can see is perhaps on the radar there that they would like to have you work with or meet. And so they're just letting you know that this isn't the right person for you to have this conversation with or have this meeting with or whatever it is. Or perhaps they're allowing you to learn a little patience with others in that moment. But whatever that is, go into it in a neutral field. And when you're projecting out a certain outcome, say you project a negative outcome on meeting someone. I just know it's not going to work out. I know they're not going to be nice, or they're not going to say what I need them to say or cooperate with me. I just know this is not going to turn out good. You're projecting that. It's like a movie, and those streams of light going out from the projector, projecting an outcome. And that does affect your energetic exchange with that person. That is indeed setting up the possibility of something not turning out well before you even get there. Depending on how emotionally charged, because you all have passing thoughts, and that is normal. You can have a fear or a passing thought about something and it still go okay. But we're talking about those repetitive thoughts where you work yourself up into it and you're allowing it to manifest, and perhaps the meeting goes well with that person, but perhaps the field is set for some kind of negative confrontation. It happens maybe out in the parking lot, maybe at the grocery store, maybe with a family member, because that projection is already out there. That expectation that you're going to have a negative experience has already, with a lot of emotion from you, been projected out there. So even if the meeting with that individual goes well, and you can be grateful for that, just be aware, if you keep obsessing over or repeating bad, we will say, thoughts that something is going to happen, you know, with a lot of emotion, like a lot of you will get to thinking, you know, of fear, even that is quite emotional, it can just start turning up in different ways. And we like the one where the order is wrong in the fast food line. And at first you think, oh, okay. And you pass it off. And so when you go back, it might be wrong again, or it might not be, but you have compassion for the people in the line. And you say, okay, you know, next time I'm going to just check it, right? And it's okay. But then there's the guy behind you that perhaps his order gets wrong. And every time he goes there, he announces to everyone in the car how he knows when he gets there, he hates going here because it's going to get screwed up. You see?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does, but it's his mindset that every time he goes to this place or every time he orders something, it's wrong. Well, if he continues to do this, and there are people that go around your towns, and you know who they are, that go around in this state of mind, that why is everything always messed up? Since COVID, everything's always messed up. They have lots of reasons, you see. They'll always come up with a reason to be angry. And this starts manifesting in their world. Things start not getting delivered on time when they want it. They are out of it when they go to order it. Something in the workplace doesn't turn out the way they thought. You see, it starts to accumulate that energy, that angry energy, that nothing is working out for me the way I want it. When I go to the line, it's not working out. And these thoughts are very strong. These emotions are very strong. And this anger is very deep. This person is unconscious and unaware, but they are creating that type of a reality for them in many different ways. Maybe the appointment that they make gets canceled, or perhaps they have a difficult time with the people at a doctor's office with questions, or they don't get answers to their questions, or these types of people, you have seen them. They're end up having confrontations on many different levels. In traffic, they may constantly get cut off, or have people parking in their parking spot just as they get to it. You see, that is a snowball effect of a very common thought that someone might have, that kind of you've allowed to run away in your being. You've allowed the anger to sort of take hold, and the repetitive thought to keep coming back. And does that make sense to you, Cheryl, how this could manifest in someone's life, how they could see that if they continued down that path?
It does. It really does. And so I have two questions. And the one that came up while you were just talking about this, the examples, is even, and it's not a pointing of fingers. I've seen it. I've done it. It's a reaction that we have to something we see on TV. It's a reaction to the news, and it can be highly emotionally charged.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But it's a reaction that we're putting out there. That reaction is also a projection. Is that correct?
Yes. And if you are continuing to be angry about what you're seeing, you might go into observation mode at that point, if you can, and notice people that also carry that opinion might be showing up in your world. It might be a phone call from a relative that thinks like that. There might be you may go to get your haircut, and that'll be the conversation. Just what triggered you on the news, they'll be saying and agreeing with the news, and it's triggering you while you're sitting there getting your haircut. These people, it's kind of like being in traffic and seeing a bright colored car and saying, wow, I've never seen that color yellow before. And then all of a sudden, all over town, those colors, that color will start popping out at you.
Right.
You see, you're creating it. It's you're
Right.
to your awareness and you're drawing it to you. So that can happen with repetitive thoughts and feelings and emotions that are strong. They can start popping out in different ways. They're a bright yellow car one spot, then it's a bright yellow building. Oh, I never noticed that was that color. That's the color of that car I saw. And oh my gosh, look, there's a bike over there that color, and another car that color, or a truck. You see, you're manifesting what you're thinking and feeling. And there's no accidents in your reality. Things are coming your way, and it's time that you be aware of it. And you can make a game of it. You can enjoy it, or you can allow it to trigger you and follow it and see where it leads. There's many different ways to handle this energy. Knowing how it works, though, gives you a better idea of how to navigate it. In other words, we're not saying you have to shut down every emotion you have. You don't. But put it in perspective that you don't want to create a world like that for yourself. Allow your mind to rest and go into quietness. Allow yourself to put down the anxiety about certain things so that you're not projecting that very issue into your future when actually you don't know what the future holds yet. You have no idea what could be manifest for you if you change the way you're thinking just slightly. Just allow those problems to sort of just be there, but not bothering you anymore. Perhaps take them out one at a time and say, is this something I really want to worry about anymore? Am I creating it in my reality by focusing on it all the time? What will happen if I let it go? Maybe I'll try that. I'll try letting it go, you know? And this is a time for you to shift, to enjoy and step into your power as the creator. Does that help?
It is very helpful. So at the beginning, Esther was talking about the meditation that she did with the Stargate experience and having you there and others and bringing the energy back into us. So basically creating a circle of what we've projected and bringing it back into our own fields. I want a little bit of clarity on this because we expend the energy and it comes back to us. So if we've already expended it, why would we bring it back to us in the context or in the example that she had used to gather our power again, if what we put out comes back to us anyway?
It comes back in a way perhaps that you prefer or don't prefer, depending on what you're projecting, but it's a visualization. In other words, letting your subconscious, your body know that you're taking back all of those projections, everything, because even your expectations can limit you. Your own expectations can limit your options, what's available to you, if you allow your higher self to create for you. If you trust and if you bring that energy back in, it goes into your heart space. You communicate with your brain through your heart space. So all of that energy is basically, we say it's coming back in, it's really being dissolved. We're really helping you show how you would dissolve it. Instead of sending it out and dissipating your energy over a wide field, as you know, even with electricity, if it's over a wide field, it becomes weakened. When it's concentrated in a cord, even any kind of conduit that you use, like an electrical cord, it's much more powerful, you know, than it is if it's spread out, if it has a wide field. So the higher self and you are connected, and the earth plane is connected. If you project, the earth is under your feet, you are in the middle, and your higher self is over top. And you have a line of connection, a thread of connection through you, a conduit of energy. When you're constantly dispersing it through the many thoughts and projections in your world, you're taking that energy that could be focused in a very beautiful way for your best outcome, for your highest good, and you're kind of interfering with it. You're weakening it. You're distracting yourself from what could be coming down the line for you. So we're asking you to just take all that back in and put it in your heart and allow yourself to be in a balanced, neutral place, and allow your higher self to really use that connection full power within you. And it's going to guide you and bring to you. This is a different way of creating than you've ever done. And this is why we're making you aware. This is how it can work to unfold for you the next step. So you may have an expectation. I'm running this business and it's going well and it's successful. I don't know where it's going. It's okay. You know you are a success. That's the first thing. You know you're worth it. You know you are a success. Allow it to be, and allow the next step to come to you. You see, without projecting, there may be things in your field, and this can go for an individual in any occupation, in any time in their life. There may be opportunities in your field to do many different things if you allow it. Instead of getting in that repetitive groove of projecting this is a certain way, it happens linearly in a linear line. My life is this, this, and this, and that's all you see. If you can bring those projections back in and hold them here in your heart and just allow them to sort of dissolve and say, I'm just going to see what my higher self brings me. Trust that. And that's where quieting the mind helps, because it allows you to do that. It allows you to calm those thoughts. And you actually are much more powerful a being, a creator for your reality, more than you ever know. In this reality, you are so powerful. You are creating all the time. So as you quiet your mind down and you allow and trust your higher self to bring to you what you need to know, that could be your thoughts, is that you're going to trust that there is part of you that's multidimensional, that is powerful, and you're not sure what the next step is. You're not sure. You're just going to keep going and allow it to happen and stay in a state of peace. Stay with the love in your heart for yourself in this experience here. And that will help to bring to you what would be for your highest good and for your highest joy. Different experiences with people with abundance on all levels can come your way if you allow yourself to just bring in all those projections that you're always having and those repetitive thoughts. Just bring them in and just allow them to dissolve there, and know that that fires up that conduit of energy through your body. Does that make sense?
It does. And that is such a beautiful visual and a beautiful summary. I respect and appreciate. And I think where it really hit home for me was to just I think everything needs to be linear. I think I need to control everything. And in reality, let it go and see where your higher self takes you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does take trust, and it takes some practice doing that. And this is where you can just kind of observe where some days are better than others at that, right? Self to try that. This is the way of the future. This is the way of the higher frequency that you're moving into. This is part of your natural ability that you forgot you had. Now we're here to support that and to show you and remind you who you truly are and how magnificent you are in these bodies, how much you can help yourself make your life beautiful in this way. So
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I'm sure there will be more, but for today, that was a beautiful explanation. And It's something for us to, the conscious awareness when we catch ourselves in those repetitive thoughts, I think is the key in all of that.
Yes, it starts there. And then you just take the next step to try and do something about that. And we've given some suggestions, but you all are quite intelligent and you have intuition and you can find what works for you. So thank you for having us come forward in this meeting today. Namaste.
Namaste. Wow. That was so good. That was so good. Thank you, Esther, for stepping aside and being the exquisite channel that you are.
Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for asking those good questions. I think they really enjoyed that exchange. That was, well, I'll have to listen later and see what all I said. I can remember some of it, but I thought that was really good information, just timely for every day.
Perfectly timed.
Yep. All right. I'm going to go ahead and thank everyone for listening right here to me and Cheryl today. And I look forward to seeing you on another multidimensional Monday. Thank you.
Bye-bye.